There is a knowing that stirs quietly within you, a whisper beyond memory, a vibration beneath reason. It is the sense that certain people, upon entering your life, do not arrive by accident. They do not merely cross your path. They are sewn into your very soul, as if the threads of your being once danced with theirs in another life, under another sky. This is not romantic fantasy. It is the silent architecture of the soul's journey, as revealed by the timeless work of Weiss. When someone hurts you deeply, and the pain echoes longer than logic allows, it may be because they were once your soulmate, and not just a lover in this lifetime, but a mirror from lifetimes before. The anguish, the love, the rupture, they are not always born here. They are residues of ancient contracts, soul agreements carved in ether, waiting to be fulfilled or released. Weiss, a pioneer of past life regression, reminds us that healing the present often requires remembering the past, not just the past of this life, but the deep past of the soul. His work reveals what many feel but cannot name, that some wounds bleed through lifetimes, and that forgiveness may be the only true medicine that can reach across those invisible timelines. So why would a soulmate hurt you? Because the soul does not seek comfort, it seeks evolution. That person who shattered your heart may have once promised before either of you were born to help you awaken, even if it meant breaking you open. You met not to fall in love, but to fall through illusion, to confront your attachments, to transmute pain into presence. And it is only through that fracture that the light could finally enter. These are not just poetic metaphors. The soul recognizes what the mind cannot explain. You may feel it as déjà vu, or an unexplainable connection, or an overwhelming pain that seems too vast for such a brief relationship. That is the imprint of karmic memory, a thread that stretches across lives, pulling you back toward those who hold keys to your growth. Weiss teaches that we are eternal beings, incarnating many times, often with the same souls, in different roles: friend, parent, child, lover, even enemy. And in that dance of roles, there is always a deeper purpose: awakening. That's why betrayal by someone close often hurts more than words can express, because the betrayal touches a deeper layer, where your souls once touched in love, in sacrifice, in ancient trust. But here is the deeper truth. Pain does not mean failure. It means the agreement was fulfilled. The soul came to feel it all, not to be safe, but to be whole, not to repeat patterns, but to transcend them. And in that pain, a doorway opens. The opportunity to reclaim your power, forgive across lifetimes, and rewrite the energy between you. If you are still carrying the weight of someone who wounded you deeply, consider the possibility that your soul knew them long before you did. And perhaps they loved you enough to play the role that would break you, so you could finally become who you were always meant to be. Breathe with that thought. Let it soften your heart. Let it open something ancient inside you. And if these words resonate somewhere beyond the mind, in that quiet place within, know that this journey has only just begun. If you feel the call of these truths echoing inside, consider subscribing to this channel. In doing so, you are not just joining a community, you are responding to a vibration, aligning with others, walking the path of remembrance and return. Before your first breath, before your name was ever spoken, your soul chose. Not randomly, not passively, but with intention so profound that the mind cannot grasp it. In the luminous silence between lives, your soul stood in a space beyond time, surrounded by beings of light, and asked, "What do I need to learn? Who will help me remember?" And so the contracts were formed. These contracts are not written in ink, but in vibration, agreements between souls forged in love and trust. A soul does not choose easy, it chooses truth. It chooses the people and situations that will press against the ego, awaken the heart, and challenge the illusions of separateness. And often the ones who play the hardest roles, the ones who hurt us, are the ones who love us the most, at the soul level. This is the paradox of soulmates. They are not always soft. They are not always kind. Sometimes they are the exact opposite, so that we can rise beyond dependency, beyond identity, into a deeper self that does not shatter when the world does. Weiss teaches that many of our emotional wounds stem not from random trauma, but from soul-level lessons chosen before birth. This doesn't mean you deserve pain. It means your soul saw value in learning through it. Even heartbreak can be a mirror that reveals where your light has dimmed, where your power was given away, where healing still calls. This understanding is not meant to bypass pain. It's meant to bring reverence to it. Imagine the person who broke your heart, or left without closure, or betrayed your deepest trust. Imagine them not as villain, but as a soul who stood before you in that sacred space and whispered, "I will help you remember who you are, even if it means you'll hate me for a while. Even if I have to play the dark so you can reclaim your light." The contract was not about suffering, it was about awakening. There is a strange relief in recognizing this. It doesn't erase the emotion, but it gives it context. It allows forgiveness to take root, not just as an act of moral virtue, but as a return to wholeness. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What did my soul seek to learn through this?" That shift changes everything. In the light of this truth, even your most painful relationships can become sacred, not because they were fair, not because they were kind, but because they carried medicine hidden in chaos. They cracked you open, so your spirit could rise through the wreckage. And here's what's more. These contracts are never punishments. They are invitations. You always have choice. Even if a soul agreement is made before birth, the way you respond to it now, in this moment, defines your freedom. The pain does not own you. The past does not trap you. You can release the contract. You can bless the other and move on. That is the soul's highest act, to choose love even where pain once lived. Pause here. Feel what stirs within you. The person you've struggled to forgive. What if they loved you more than you can yet understand? There comes a moment, subtle, unsettling, when you realize the pain you carry is not new. It feels ancient. Not because you've lived it before in this life, but because your soul has danced with its echo across timelines. When you encounter someone who triggers you deeply, who opens wounds you didn't know you had, that person is rarely a stranger to your essence. They are a karmic mirror, held up to reveal what still lives in your shadow. Weiss illuminates this truth, that relationships are not random. They are vibrational matches, orchestrated by your own frequency and karmic path. Every emotion stirred in your heart by another person is a message. Sometimes a message of love remembered, sometimes of lessons left incomplete. Karma is not punishment, it is energy seeking resolution. When a person enters your life and shakes your foundation, they are often completing an energetic cycle you began long ago. Maybe you betrayed them once. Maybe they betrayed you. Maybe you parted without forgiveness. Or maybe you simply did not finish what your soul set out to experience. And now here they are again, disguised in a new body, a new story, yet carrying the same vibration, asking the same question. Will we heal this now? This is the essence of karmic relationships. They are intense, magnetic, confusing, because they come wrapped in emotional urgency. You feel drawn in, almost powerless to resist even when it hurts. That pull is the echo of unfinished business. The soul remembers what the mind cannot. Recognizing this mirror is a powerful turning point. You stop blaming the other for your pain and start asking, what is this showing me about myself? Maybe it's showing you where you abandon yourself. Maybe it's revealing where you still believe you are unworthy of love. Maybe it's exposing the parts of you that were never safe to feel, until now. This is the alchemy of karmic pain. It breaks the shell so the truth beneath can emerge. Weiss reminds us that healing does not require reliving every past life, only understanding the emotional pattern that repeats. And once seen clearly, that pattern can be dissolved. Awareness is the great disruptor of karma. When you face the mirror with presence instead of projection, the energy begins to shift. But be gentle with yourself. Karmic relationships are not linear. They come in waves. Sometimes the soul feels ready to heal, and sometimes it does not. That too is sacred. There is no failure in walking away before the contract is complete, as long as you do so with consciousness. The pain may still come. The confusion may still linger, but beneath it you begin to see the truth. This person is not your enemy. They are your reflection, and reflections can only hurt when you resist seeing what they reveal. Take a breath. Who in your life has stirred you so deeply it felt impossible to understand? What if that confusion was the invitation, not to figure them out, but to finally meet yourself? The karmic mirror is not here to shame you, it's here to free you. And freedom, real freedom, begins not when others change, but when you stop giving them the power to define your worth. Pain, when viewed through the eyes of the soul, is not an enemy to escape. It is a teacher waiting to be heard. It arrives uninvited, sharp and disorienting, tearing through the stories we've told ourselves to feel safe. And yet, in the language of the soul, pain is not punishment. It is communication. It speaks when other voices fall silent. It shows up precisely where truth has been buried too long. Weiss reminds us that suffering often signals where our growth is calling most loudly. We do not suffer without cause, not from a cosmic cruelty, but from a deeper necessity. The soul knows that awakening rarely comes through comfort. It comes through rupture, through the unraveling of illusions we once mistook for love, identity, control. Pain pulls us into presence. It snaps the mind out of autopilot and demands attention. When someone wounds you deeply, especially someone with whom you shared a powerful connection, that pain is not just emotional, it is energetic. It reverberates through layers of memory, personal, ancestral, even past life. And in those layers, you find more than hurt. You find clues. The question is not, why am I hurting, but what part of me is asking to be seen? The soul does not seek to avoid hardship. It seeks to understand it, to transmute it. And that transmutation begins the moment you stop resisting what is. The moment you say, yes, this hurts. Yes, I feel betrayed. Yes, I feel lost. But I will not abandon myself here. In that decision, pain begins to shift. It ceases to be a trap and becomes a portal. What lies on the other side of that portal is not always clarity, not at first. It is silence, space, a stripping away of what no longer serves. Pain humbles the ego, quiets the noise, and makes space for a deeper voice to rise, one that has been whispering all along beneath the chaos. Sometimes the very person who causes your deepest pain is the one who activates your deepest self. Not because they were meant to stay, but because they were meant to awaken what had been dormant. That is not justification for harm. It is an invitation to find meaning in what seemed meaningless. Weiss speaks often of the soul's resilience, its capacity to carry wisdom through lifetimes, to retain memory through veils of forgetting. And when pain cracks the surface, that wisdom can finally re-emerge. You remember not just who you are, but who you have always been. Let yourself be present with what hurts. Not to glorify suffering, but to listen. There is a message in the ache. Perhaps it's telling you it's time to reclaim your boundaries. Perhaps it's calling you to end a cycle your ancestors could not. Perhaps it's simply saying, you are more than this moment. You are not broken, you are being rebuilt. Pain is sacred when it becomes conscious. It stops being random and becomes revelatory. It reveals not only where you've been, but where you're meant to go. Lighter, freer, more rooted in truth. So the next time the ache returns, don't just try to silence it. Sit with it. Ask what it wants you to know, and listen with the ears of the soul, because sometimes the pain is not the end of the story. It's the invitation to write a new one. There comes a time when the search ends, not because the answers have arrived, but because something deeper within you has softened. You no longer need to understand everything. You no longer need to carry every wound like a badge. What was once pain becomes presence. What was once confusion becomes clarity, not of the mind but of the heart. This is the return to wholeness. Weiss teaches that healing is not a destination, it is a remembrance of the soul's vastness, its wisdom, its sacred resilience. After the regression, after the revelation, what remains is this: a deeper relationship with yourself. You see that every heartbreak was not a detour but a doorway. Every difficult connection was not a mistake, but a mirror. And through each, you met the forgotten parts of your being. You are not here to live perfectly. You are here to live consciously. And consciousness, once awakened, cannot be reversed. You begin to feel subtle changes. The things that used to trigger you begin to dissolve. The people who once held power over your peace begin to fade from their pedestal. And in their place there is only you, standing fully in your light, no longer needing to be completed by anyone else. The soulmate who hurt you, they were part of your curriculum, not your destiny. Their role was never to rescue you, but to reveal you, to draw to the surface the strength that had been sleeping, the voice that had been silent, the self-love that had been conditional. They were a sacred visitor on the soul's path, and now they are free to go. And so are you. This is forgiveness at its highest octave. Not forgetting, not excusing, but releasing the energetic bond that kept you tethered to pain. It is the gentle cutting of cords, not out of anger, but out of love, for yourself, for them, for the growth that was made possible through your shared suffering. And in that release, a space opens, a space where joy can return, where trust can rebuild, where new connections can form, no longer from lack but from overflow. You no longer seek love to be healed. You bring healing into every space you enter, because you have remembered who you are, an eternal soul, wise beyond measure, brave enough to come here and feel it all. Let that truth land. This moment right now is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one not written by pain but by presence. The karmic loops are closing. The heart is no longer fragmented. The soul is no longer seeking what it thought was lost. You are here, and that is enough. Let these words be not just heard but lived. Let them ripple into your relationships, your thoughts, your breath. Let them remind you that nothing and no one ever truly breaks us. They break the shell, they break the mask, but what remains is always more whole than before. You are not behind, you are right on time. And this sacred remembering is why you came. If these words touched your soul, subscribe to the channel and click on the video that just appeared on your screen. It was chosen especially for you. I know you'll love it.